Hello Gyalavanters, and welcome back to my channel. I need to tell y'all today that I have a bit of a tude, so I figured it's fitting for me to discuss something that pisses me off: taxi scams. We've all been a victim of it while on vacation, and I understand that, the local taxi cabbies can spot a tourist out and they're like seeing dollar signs and money bags. But I'm not the one, boo-boo. Like, I am not the one to sit around and be played. And listen, I'm not blaming the individual taxi drivers. Like, I understand the system that we live in, and if people need to do a little bit of scamming to feed their families, I get it. But guess what? I'm not trying to get got, and I'm trying to save you from getting got. So here are the 5 common taxi scams that happen abroad, and my personal stories and antidotes of how I got scammed with all 5 of them. Scam number 1. If they have a meter in their taxi, make sure they turn it on. If they don't get in. So when you are taking taxis in Marrakech, for the locals, they'll use the meter. But it's notoriously known that for tourists, they're just gonna say some price and you're supposed to negotiate down. One time I was able to get the taxi driver to use the meter, and he really took us on a ride all around town. Mind you, I had my Google Maps next to me, and I'm like, the place that we're going to is right here. So he was really just going all around town trying to run the meter because he was pissed that we got him to use the meter. But anyway, we got there and it was still way significantly cheaper than it would have been from the original rate that he was trying to give us. Taxi scam number 2, make sure that you have change. So I haggled with this taxi driver again in Morocco. When they go high, you go low. Low to the flow, low. We're about to catch this taxi. It was a little scary. Let Dom do the haggling, because that's her thing. And we good. I haggled him down from 50 to 30. Oh my God, I don't remember what the name of the currency is there, but I'm sure I'll put it in the caption once I Google it. So I haggled him down to 30, and then when it came time to hop out of the cab, all I had was a 50, and I handed that to him, and he literally would not give me my change. He was like, no, we said it was 50, and I'm like, sir, we said that it was 30, and I was like, you know what, I'm not about to fight this man, I'm not a strong fighter. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this L. But I know for next time that I will always have the amount of change that I need. Now, let me take you over to the wonderful city of Rome, where I got scammed not once, not twice, 3 times. 3 freaking times I got scammed by taxis. Mind you, I was only there for a weekend, so 3 days. Every day that I was there, a taxi driver scammed me. We landed in Rome, and I remember one of my friends was like, oh, you should probably take a taxi because the Ubers in Rome are really expensive. And I was like, all right, cool. So we're walking out of the airport, and this taxi cab driver approached us, and he seemed really thirsty. And we didn't even exit the airport yet. I know the scam, so I was like, nah, I'm good, stay away. But then my friend was like, nah, let's see what price he's trying to talk about. And I had looked on the Uber app, and it was 60 euros to get where we were going. So that was the mark that I wanted to go below. And he was like, no, I'm a legitimate taxi driver. I'll take you to my booth in the airport and we'll write you out a ticket. So that made me feel a little bit more legitimacy. Little did I know. So we're going up to the booth, and we're like, oh, how much can you get it down to? And he was like, oh, I'll do it for 50. And I was like, a little $10 difference. Let's see if we can get him to do a little better. So we finally negotiated him down to 40, and I really thought that we were winning. And then he wrote us a little ticket, and I was like, all right, cool, 40 euros. Bet. we saved $20 off Uber. Holla at your girl. So we're walking out, and we're passing all these vehicles, and I'm like, oh snap, we're about to be in the Benzo. Oops, nope, that wasn't the car we were gonna be in. Then we're walking past more cars, and I'm like, okay, where is this vehicle? We finally approach a freaking shuttle van full of passengers, mind you. We were the last 2 people to get on the thing, and then we sat in the front. Had I known that I was negotiating a rate for a public bus, I would have went down to 20 or something like way lower. And of course, because we were the last ones on the bus, we were the last ones to get dropped off. Like, the whole purpose of me paying for a taxi is the convenience of the time saved from going door to door, boom, boom. But no. So we were like driving all around Rome, dropping all these people off, and I was just pissed. But we were so pissed, all we could do was just laugh. Taxi scam number 3. When you are negotiating for a taxi in the airport, make sure you know that it's a private cab versus a communal shuttle. Day number 2, I was like, do you take cards? And he was like, no. Red flag number 1, because the taxis take cards. He was like, he only takes cash. And I was like, okay, we're using the meter, right? And he was like, oh no, the meter's not working. Again, red flag number 2. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to take this taxi. Like, I don't like his vibes. I feel like he's real scammy right now. Like, my radar was going off. But my friend was like really in a rush, and she was like, no, I have like this important meeting that I need to go to. I don't have time to look for another taxi. Let's just take this one. So I'm like, all right. Against my better judgment, I was like, all right, bet, whatever. So he told us that it was going to be 17 euros, by the way. And mind you, we walked to where we were, and it was like a 30-minute walk, and I knew it was going to be no more than a 10-minute drive. So to me, 17 euros was already too much. So we're both in our phones, and when he dropped us off, I like handed him a 20. And then he was like, it's 17 euros. And I'm like, yeah, I just handed you a 20. And he whips out a 5, and he's like, no, you handed me a 5. And because maybe I'm so naive and I just think about, you know, I see the best in people, and that's how you get got. And I was on my phone when I handed him the money and wasn't really paying attention. We handed him the difference, and then it was just really blowing my mind. And then it finally clicked, like he pulled a fast one on us, and just like switched the money right there. And I spoke to another friend in my travel group and told him the story about it, and he said the same thing happened to him in Mexico. So apparently that is like a really common like taxi scam. So always, 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 if you're paying in cash, pay attention to the money that you are handing to the taxi driver. Now, coming to scam number 5. And this one, I guess is funny because now it's in hindsight, but it is really not that funny. So after being scammed 2 days in a row with the taxis in Rome, I was like, you know what? Let's take an Uber. I don't care how much more it costs. Like, we're just gonna take an Uber. So we request this Uber, and then we get this strange message that was like, oh, I'm not in the vehicle that's on Uber. I'm in a black van. And I was like, skirks.
We get a message from the Uber, oh, I'm not in the Mercedes black car, I'm in the black van. No, 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 this is not taken, we're not getting in the black van.
So of course we canceled that Uber and reported him and was like, you know what? We're just going to take public transportation. And I'll say, I know that in my other video I preached only taking public transport, but we were only in Rome for a couple of days, so I thought that the fastest way to get around would to be taking taxi. But nope, not if I'm gonna get robbed, not if I'm gonna get kidnapped, not if I'm gonna get taken. I wanna make it clear that I'm not advocating to people to not take taxis, and I'm certainly not saying that every single taxi driver is a scammer, because that, of course, that's not true. I just wanted to share some insight on how to avoid common taxi scams. So if you want to get in a taxi, by all means, hop into the taxi, but just watch out for these warning signs so that you don't get scammed. Thank you so much for tuning in this week's Gyalavanting. See you next week. Stay alert, stay vigilant, don't get got, don't be naive like me. And you see, outside of being cheap, this is why I don't take taxis. Because I don't got time for these people scamming me. Because y'all know I'm gullible. And I just be having that attitude for the rest of the day.